Hello, welcome. My name is Kevin Lee, Director of Solutions Engineering for SafetyChain. I want to welcome you to providing real-time plant visibility, SafetyChain and Ignition. What I want to do is we're going to go through a slight presentation, and after the presentation with a couple slides, I'm going to go into a live demonstration. But a couple housekeeping notes. Any questions you have, please place them into the chat box. My colleague, Chris Harrison, is there. He's from SafetyChain, and he'll address your questions there. And any questions that we're not able to address right now, we will definitely send you an email follow-up. So please put your questions into the chat box. A lot of times, Ignition integrators, they say, well, what is SafetyChain? What is it that you do? What we do is plant management platform. SafetyChain provides a plant management platform that integrates with Ignition across the plant. So think of what activities go on inside of the plant. You got safety, quality, production, supplier management, verifications, document for assigning to your resources, everything that goes on within the plant, the four walls of the plant. SafetyChain is there providing value. And we have many customers using Ignition with SafetyChain. SafetyChain is software, and it basically allows you to expand the value that you bring to your customers with our solution. The value for integrators, think of it, integration or Ignition integrators, think of it this. You have the ability to expand your footprint and expand your revenues. So if we think about it, as I mentioned earlier, we have over 1,500 manufacturing plants across food, beverage, plastics, CPG, all over the country using our software. And we can proudly say we are the only one that has an enterprise solution uniting production, quality, safety, supplier management, and other activities that occur within that facility. Here's a perspective for you to look at. When you look at a manufacturing facility, you may have with the Ignition software connecting to PLCs and gateways and capturing data. We can pull that data into our system, whether you have PLCs in the warehousing or the shipping or wherever you have your data, we can marry human data with machine collected data. And that union of the data from machines and humans is what our customers tell us they enjoy most because it gives them three things. The three things that come from a union of Ignition and SafetyChain are: one, data capture. We're capturing data from your particular integration. The second one is data visualization. You're going to see shortly when I move over to the live demonstration, you're going to see how we're able to take any data captured within the facility, within your platform, within the Ignition, and we can put that data into graphs, charts, easily viewable dashboards for operators, supervisors, plant management representatives, and global representatives of manufacturing can see all the data that's harnessed. Another thing that happens is when you look at the pillar one, data capture, pillar two, data visualization, the third pillar I think is most important, and this is where our customers really accelerate their appreciation of our union. What they see is the ability with the pillar three is the ability to action the data, which says when I see data in real time, I can do corrective actions, I can do preventive actions, I can immediately say this particular line is down for this reason, and this is the reason why over the past 6 hours it's gone down. I'm going to create a corrective action plan so I can resolve this situation. So the third pillar is the ability to action your data in real time. We are SafetyChain and Ignition. What we do is we bring human data and machine data together. I said it was a marriage, a union of the data And what it does is it really emphasizes and provides real-time visibility immediately. So when you look here, we collect the data. We'll collect the data from your Ignition platform, and we're agnostic. We can do it from a web API. We can collect data from mobile devices. And when I say mobile devices, Android, Surface Pros from Windows, or iPhones or Apple devices, it doesn't matter. But another thing that's most important and most beneficial that our customers tout often is the ability for our solution to capture data in offline mode. So we can receive data from your system and maybe there's no Wi-Fi. We could pull that information in. And then once we resume connectivity, the data comes in automatically. SafetyChain sits in the Microsoft Azure cloud. It's a multi-tenant cloud architecture structure. Here's another perspective. We have thousands of customers around the globe, but think of it from the North American perspective. These are the customers that we have. Some of these customers are global, have facilities all over the place. The two things that we have that we offer, think of it like this. We provide and deliver a stable, secure software platform, and it's a plant management platform. The second thing what we have is our proven platform is used by tens of thousands of users every day, generating millions of records. These records and the ability to see their data in real time allows their companies to save tens of millions of dollars annually. Because if something is not going proper, maybe you're failing a particular check because the information came in, and now you could see it on an exceptions dashboard that this situation is not going properly. Or this machine, it may not be down, but it's running slower than expected. So the performance is slower, and the alert can allow you to direct your attention, your representatives, your resources to resolve that. Another thing to consider, SafetyChain is a mature company. We use an agile methodology with our solution with coaches. These are industry experts that helps to ensure the adoption of our platform from your operators, your managers, and your plant leadership. I wanted to put this here for you just to give you an idea. Now, once again, SafetyChain with Ignition, there's different, meaning Ignition has its role, and our role is to provide the bridge from the data to the visualization to the actioning of the data. But what I wanted to do is show you, here's an example of some of the data that we can capture coming into our solution. You could see in this particular live monitoring view, you could see the rate, the actual, the plan, what's rejected, and the availability. So at all times, operators, supervisors, executives, if they have a mobile device and or a tablet, they could see their plant information from anywhere on the planet in real time. Here's a different display of the same information just to show you that the operators, which is most important, can now select the equipment that went down, select the reason code for why the equipment went down. Maybe there was a slowdown event. The operator, the user-friendly mechanism that we provide within our OEE solutions empower the operators to capture data quickly and easily, and to capture the source of the downtime and the actual reasons. Now, I use that as an example, downtime. But you also are familiar that you have slowdown events that occur, you have quality events that occur, and that's where we really expand our capabilities, is when you're looking at capturing, presenting the downtime and the slowdown, but also harvesting what are those quality impacts that was captured as a result of these events. Now it's time for a live SafetyChain demo. When we look at SafetyChain, SafetyChain is designed to accommodate the four walls of the facility. And we do that from three perspectives. Think of it as your operator's perspective. They need to be able to capture the data, look at the data quickly and easily, and to bring it into the system. And think of that's the human data. When we look at the machine data, that's coming from Ignition, and that's where we can marry that information together. This is where the union is displayed. Notice here, I pull in the information. I could say I want to look at this information in the past 30 minutes, past hour, past 1 month. We are an enterprise platform, which means some of our customers have facilities, over 100 manufacturing plants and sites around the globe. When we come down here and look at the information, you have the ability to say, okay, what I want to do is I want to look at my dashboards, my quality records, my scheduled tasks, my documents, which means the items associated or the SOPs and the work instructions associated with the resources, the equipment, the items that exist within the facility. Another thing about our platform that's most beneficial and powerful is the ability to capture the supplier rating and supplier scorecards of your suppliers. So we have a portal that we can pull the data from your supplier directly electronically, and now we can start to risk rank your suppliers. As I mentioned, as the extension into the plant, you're going to also have verifications. You're going to have we're talking about suppliers, so let's assume it comes into the receiving door. You're going to have receiving verifications. You're getting ready to ship something out to the customer. You're going to have pre-shipment verifications. You have in-process checks from the shop floor, and you may want to do some verifications there. So the system is very powerful to accommodate these. Last but not least is cases, and that's where we have our actioning of the data. And this is where I'm going to conclude after I go through the brief demonstration. I wanted you to be aware of the platform capabilities because the union between Ignition and SafetyChain empowers your customers to take a visual display of their data in real time. So let's start with the dashboards. When I look here, you'll see I can have maintenance dashboards. I can have hazardous for our EH&S. We also have an OEE dashboard. So let's look at this one first. If you're an executive or a supervisor and there's certain information you look at all the time, I can set up this particular standard dashboard, and notice over here on the right-hand side, if I have this on my desktop or on my phone or wherever it is, I could say every 3 minutes, I want to refresh the dashboard so you could see your production information coming in whenever you need it. Maybe there's downtime resources. So here I can see the sources of my downtime, which machines are impacted. Remember, with that particular refresh button, your executives are always, and supervisors and operators are always aware of what's going on in their facility. When we come back and look at another dashboard, when you think of the SafetyChain platform, I mentioned maintenance, EH&S, OEE, but we also support, many of our customers will take the data for process data. So the statistical process control is another one that allows our customers to ensure that their controls, their processes are in control. So this is one of the many charts I wanted to display on a dashboard. You'll have the familiar refresh button, but here I could see that here's my histogram with my standard deviations and my CPKs and PPKs. But when I come down here, I could see more of the SPC metrics that was captured during this particular time frame. SafetyChain's dashboards are very powerful, and that's what our customers who are using Ignition and SafetyChain say that they enjoy the most. Another thing is, I mentioned our platform has the ability to operate and serve as a document repository. When we think of this as a document repository, I have my work instructions. I could have my master sanitation schedule or any sort of SOP that you want. The value of this particular platform benefit is it allows you to see which documents, who modified it, the version, and the size. All of our data we can export to Excel, but I can also put this into a card format. By placing the data into a card format, realize I'm still at the visualization phase. I can now see how long ago some of these documents expired. 12 days ago, 25 days ago. So think of this. You're capturing your data from your plant, and now when your operators are getting ready to operate and produce items, they can now see their SOPs, their work instructions on their mobile device if necessary, or on their Windows workstation, timely and readily. When we go back over here again, notice on this side, I'm going to bring you to where we have our suppliers. Now, SafetyChain, if you think of the four walls of a manufacturing facility, items come in, raw materials, do something with them, and then items go out, you ship them to your customers. In the middle, when you're there, you're doing different things. You're adding labor, materials, machines, you're doing different things. Well, it's very important from a risk management to ensure that your suppliers are giving you what you need when you need it on a timely basis. So what we do is we automatically receive the data from the suppliers and we can put them in a display so now they can see it. So when I look here, I can see my suppliers, which ones owe me something, which ones are just suppliers who provide no inventory, and the suppliers with requirements. And by looking here, you get to see an idea of the automated email that your suppliers receive to ensure that you bring things in time. So here are some tasks that the suppliers receive from SafetyChain that are due in the next, say, week and a half. And here are past due tasks because the suppliers didn't respond and they're tardy. Excuse my demo data. But what's most important is the ability for your customers to look at all of the data captured from their supplier, and our system will generate a supplier scorecard. So here I can see which suppliers are 100% based upon quality and how are they ranking based upon, I need you to send me an NDA, but they didn't send the NDA, or I need you to fill out this audit and they didn't produce the audit, or a certificate of insurance. So by selecting this right here, I can say, well, these are my top suppliers. This supplier is good at giving me information when I ask for it, but they're not too good on the quality side because they're failing the inspections. So here I can see ones that are good on, and this one is National Unlimited is really good on everything. So this is what we provide, and this is how we work together with Ignition. Now, I want to mention this too, because imagine you're integrators and you're pulling STATA in, you integrated Ignition, and now it's looking at our SafetyChain. This is one that I would say supervisors and executives alike really embrace. So let's look at it right here. We have something called exceptions. So as we're collecting the data from your source, your information, the system will automatically display within a time period all of the records, the information captured, whether it's SPC data, it's visualization, pre-op, temperature checks, whatever information from the tags that you want to send to us, we can now display it into a form basis. And now I can look at it from an exception and see which exceptions have been resolved and which ones are unresolved. When I drill down into this data specifically, notice here, the visualization of SafetyChain is powerful. So I looked at the past 1 month or the past 8 hours, doesn't matter the time period. I could see the SPC. Here are some of my values that failed their checks. Maybe they were over the weight limit, they were beyond the range, or notice here you can see the detail. it's below the range. The power of the data is when you click on it, it now displays an actual chart. So everything that we do, most things that we do, we can take the data and go further into detail to see more information that's captured from the data collected. Now, two more things I want to show you from the platform. And the goal of this meeting is just to expose the integrators to two things. One, our goal is to get you to expand your footprint, to expand your revenue, and to see how we work well with the Ignition platform. But when you look here from a records perspective, what this is going to say, here I'm looking at my SPC data, which allows me to come in and I can see immediately any data that come in. I see the record, the date, the time, and the location. Here we can see the chart. Now, this is a chart that we can present to the operator in real time. So when the operator was capturing data or looking at information, they could see the X bar in our chart, they could see the variations, and they could see the averages. Now, notice right here where it says the view detail. Once again, by selecting the view detail, it pulls them down. So now we can see run rule violations, other SPC metrics. And this is the data that we pull from their Ignition. So this is just one example. But remember, as I mentioned earlier, the power of our platform is the ability to take data that may be a little challenged, meaning it had exceptions, had some non-conformances highlighted here in red. So what I'm going to do is let's deselect this so I can see all the data, not just the SPC. And I want to do this because I'm going to transition into a very powerful pillar, which I call pillar 3, actioning the data. So we harvest all this data from Ignition, it came into SafetyChain, and now I can look here and I can detect different trends. So when I look and select this particular record here, I want to look at all of my exceptions. Now this could be temperature, it could be any data that you want. Notice here, I could say I want to see all of my process control weights, that we were using a scale or some sort of mechanism to collect the data. Here I can see I have my verifications. I could see that these were non-conforming. Now, this is where we move into pillar 3, actioning the data. Any data that we capture, once we have it here, I could say this data is not proper in the sense that these non-conformances, these deviations, these exceptions, or these variances, whichever nomenclature you want to use, we want to now assign a team to resolve this particular problem. So notice here, I could see all of these particular non-conformances, deviations, and I could create a case and attach the records. So notice here, when I select this, we are transitioning into actioning the data. I'm spending a lot of time here because we had representatives when we were at the conference, and this came up, and this was the aha moment when they were able to see that we can go directly from the data. And excuse my mini data, but I work from Appleton, or that's where I was. But now I could say what I want to do is say I have a non-conformance process. And from this particular non-conformance, I want to assign Chris to do an assessment. And then I'm going to have Jennifer do the investigation. And I have Aaron's document the findings. So the ability to pull in the data and say exactly what came from this. It was an observed trend, because in this demonstration, we observed something in the data that we captured. And what we want to do is create a case so we can assign someone to do that, to do the resolution. When you think of a case that's created, what is it that we do? And this is the really powerful point. What we do with the data is now we can issue it a task to get this information done. So I can issue a task to do the 5 whys, someone to collect the content, and to do other information. Wanted to show you how easy it was, or it is, for information to flow from Ignition to SafetyChain, our pillar 2, to pillar 3, which is actioning the data. Now it's all one particular platform, but we express it that way so you can understand its richness and its power. When I look here as a summary, I can see here's my critical cases that we've generated. Here we can see which ones are from weight deviations or any sort of incidents that occurred within the facility. Then also I have the ability to say, well, I want to drill down and just look at it from a dashboard perspective. We find that our managers and executives like to see, okay, over the past period of time, I want to see what has happened, and I want to see it on a dashboard so I can quickly see for your customers. Imagine if your customers, the ones you work with, was able to go from capturing their data and immediately seeing a trend of food, environmental, operations, or any sort of challenge that exists, because we take the data and allow you to look at it holistically and collectively in dashboards. So here you can see we support TPM, we support A3, DMAIC Six Sigma, whatever your continuous improvement endeavor is, or process or methodology, we will support that as well. I'm going to bring you over back to this one part. Once again, we encourage you and invite you to contact us so we can get deeper and get under the hood. But I wanted you to see this here as well, because what we are doing with SafetyChain is we give you the last ability, not the last, but the ability to schedule tasks. So whether it's coming in via task APIs, meaning automated tasks, we can take information from the platform and generate tasks. What the tasks will do is allow you to say which tasks are past due, which ones are due later, which ones are due on time, and which ones are late. And what we do, if you think about a manufacturing facility, there's a lot of activities that occur within that facility. You're going to have various work groups. Some work groups are doing verifications and checks, inspections. Others are doing sanitation. We're going to have our maintenance checks as well. So when you think of us from a plant perspective, we're doing everything that's required in that plant to ensure that you're creating product at specification and you're exceeding your customer expectations. What I want to do is let's return to the home screen, and I'm already in the overview demo, but I want to do two things when I end the overview demo. Think of this as just our way. I put this here so you get an understanding of our platform capability and how our customers use the Ignition and our platform to get true value and benefit out of our solution. But when I come back here, what we want to do is two things. One is we want you to join us for an exclusive discovery call Wednesday, November 2nd, 2022 at 12 p.m. Pacific time and 3 p.m. Eastern. Please come and join our conference, join our webinar where we can get into more and more detail. Also, what I want to invite you to do, well, when you come to this conference on the 2nd, you're going to learn about how SafetyChain works with SCADAs, PLCs, devices, sensors, ERPs, MESs. We play well with others. I always say SafetyChain is the spine of any organization, and it's the spine as your body. We have to play well with everything else. Please schedule a one-on-one evaluation by writing us at info@safetychain.com, and we really appreciate your time. I invite you to come over to our booth, but we'll be there in the virtual center so we can address some specific questions or anything that you have from there. So thank you again for attending our brief 30-minute high-level overview of SafetyChain.